Hey guys, welcome back. Let me make sure I got everything set up because I just swung into rest area, truck stop, pilot, to grab a break, and I booked a load. And well, I keep on getting questions and people in my emails and comments and asking, how do you book loads? Do you have to have this set price per load, all loads across the board? Every lane has an average, and you've got to know those averages. So you understand there's not a one size fits all when booking loads and booking freight. You've got to understand the averages, point A to point B, whether that point A is Atlanta to LA or Atlanta to Dallas or Dallas to Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh to Minnesota. You've got to know the averages. You've got to know. And then there comes a time, it's kind of like playing poker. You know, you got to know when to hold, you know when to bluff, and you know when to ante up. Right now we're in a market where you don't bluff, and well, you kind of play it safe. And the load I'm booking right now is, well, it's playing it safe. I'm booking a load 2 days out, and happens to be on Convoy. This is why I love Convoy. It's super easy, and I'm not only booking a load on Convoy, but I'm booking 2 loads back to back, because this load here is, well, like I said, I just pulled over and I looked at this and I found a load, and it's, you know, I'm up here in Pottstown and I'm looking for a load, and this one catches my eye. It's Bethlehem down to Union or Lithia Springs, and what really got my attention is the reloads. So I looked at the reloads. You got a San Marcos, South Carolina, a Clifton, Georgia, but the one that really grabs my attention is the San Marcos. And after I book all this, I'll tell you why, the science behind this. But this load right here, $1,700 to go to San Marcos. That's a little under $2 a mile, but you know, we got reason here. But it's just this simple, and I looked over the load and boom, you know, that's what it is. So accept it, boom. Now this is Wednesday and I'm booked all the way up to until next Wednesday, so that's a bonus, and I'm doing pretty well on the rates. Now the golden rule here is you got to run what makes sense. Now sometimes $2 a mile makes sense, sometimes $5 a mile makes sense. You just got to know where you're at, you got to know what you're doing. But the thinking on this load here was, I jumped over on DAT and I ran the lane rate averages, and the Bethlehem load going down to Lithia Springs, well, the 15-day average on that was about $1,090, and I was like, that needs to be up a little bit. So I went ahead and looked at the lane from Union City over to San Marcos, and that 15-day average was about $1,500, and I'm like, okay, well, they're $200 above market rate, so I'm going to lose 80 or 90 bucks on the first one under market rate average, and then on the second one I'm going to gain 200. So it's still going to be more from point A to point B, B being San Marcos. And then I ran Bethlehem, which is right there in Allentown, all the way to San Marcos, and I'm happy to say that load, that 15-day average on that one was $1,995. So just by doing this 2-stage book with Convoy, if you look at point A to point B, being Allentown, the Bethlehem area, going over to San Marcos, down in north of San Antonio, that's a $2,000 lane. And I just booked 2 loads, close to the same amount of mileage coming out to Atlanta than shooting over, but I got $700 more. So that's one of those things, it makes sense. So that being said, that's an example of how I book freight. It's got to make sense, guys. You got to look for point A to point B. You know, I've done a lot of loads like this as well, going to Georgia to California. But there's been times I'm being able to pick a load from Georgia to or Salt Lake City, Utah, and make the same amount of money, maybe a little less than going over to Northern Cal, but I could drop that and then I haul a freight from Salt Lake over to Northern Cal and pick up another $600, $700, $800 on that line haul, point A to point B, being Georgia to Northern California. But anyway, guys, I hope all that makes sense. Maybe I can touch on some more videos like that in the near future on how I book freight. You know, guys, it's really like playing cards. You know, you got to know when to hold, you got to know when to ante up, you got to know when to bluff. And well, this ain't the market to bluff in. You need to take care of yourself ahead of schedule if you can. That's one standard that I have. is as long as I can be right there on the 15-day average or above, I'll book it out a month in advance, as long as it's fair. But anyways, guys, in the description, there's a link. Go check out Convoy for yourself. Tell them I sent you, and give them a try. And as I said in my last video where I was talking about Convoy, you know, I really feel like the more Convoy grows and the more accounts they get, it's going to be more available freight for us to pull. So it's a double win. You know, it's a win-win. So anyways, guys, if you're still hanging in there, you rock. I appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I put these videos out on a regular, and hit the bell so you get the notification. Give me a like if you like this video. Guys, you got to think how to rise. Winners never quit, and quitters, well, they never win. It's not like a one-size-fits-all. There's so many different variables that can go into place, and